सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे परम्पराम्. Someone is sharing a screen. Can you please stop it? Leela ji. Leela ji, please. You'll have to stop the screen share. Can others also see the screen share?
Anji.
Yeah, gone now.
Not gone.
Yeah. So, welcome of
Hari Om,
course.
Devi.
Hari Om. What we are trying to see in this chapter is, I'll probably just take a very quick overview, is the connection between the fourth chapter that has gone, and more important is the connection that Shankara thinks is necessary for the fifth chapter, and especially the second verse, which is in itself, if studied, can leave behind a confusion in the students, because the second verse of the fifth chapter, Krishna is telling Arjuna that both sannyasa and karma yoga, both are means for moksha, but between the two, karma yoga is superior. This is how the moolam is put. So, but natural, if you don't have this bhashyam in between the fourth and the fifth chapter, then when you flow from the fourth chapter, most of it has gone into karma sannyas. Last verse went to say to Arjuna to get up and do his karmas in the spirit of self-growth, what is good for his self-growth. And then the fifth chapter starts with Arjuna's question that I'm confused, tell me what one thing I should do, take sannyas or do karma. And the second verse says, both are good. Both are good for your moksha. But between the two, karma yoga is superior. Now, any listener would get the message that karma yoga is superior because it's directly said in the verse. Now, what is unsaid in the verse is that it is superior is spoken to Arjun. That it is superior for Arjun between the two. But no student in the future generations, up to us, supposing if we were studying without the bhashyam, the minute we would do the verse, karma yoga is superior, it implies it is superior is a generalized message. A generalization of a message means it is a universal application. Means it is superior for everybody. So everyone should do karma yoga. If everyone should do karma yoga, then but natural, what is the need for sannyas? Karma yoga in itself is superior. And karma is a realm that everybody seems to anyway have for themselves. A field of activity everyone has. So all we need to do is convert our actions into yoga, and they are the means for moksha. This nuance, I'm calling it a nuance, because on a superficial layer, or on a first reading is a better word, on a first reading of the Gita or any Shastra, Vedantic Shastra, it is not necessary to know all the details at the first go. But when you go on reading it and you find contradiction appearing certain portions before and later, then you need to resolve those contradictions. So for a serious student is the context anyway. For any serious student, the question will always be, मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? What is advised for me? And I'm quite certain all of you remember the previous contexts of the classes gone by, where we did this in great detail, that Vedas have given us a roadmap for self-evolution. It is not very appreciated, or it loses its appreciation time and again. But it has never lost yet its availability. It loses its commonness of approach. But it has not lost the availability to anyone who puts a little effort to find it. So what is the Veda's roadmap for self-evolution? That this one lifetime is all that is certain. And for as we keep growing, everyone, every individual has their own limitations felt in the mind, in work, in relations, etc. The ones that become the source of dukkha, klesha, unhappiness, unfulfillment, etc. The two approaches left to man always is, दुनियादारी के तरीका क्या है इसको सॉल्व करने का, जिसको नहीं चाहिए वो, then the alaukic method of finding resolution to mental strains and strifes of everyday existence. This alaukic method has to go through your life cycle. And life cycle means starting from childhood to youth, adulthood, old age. That means the roadmap has to be something which sees you through life. It cannot be something that's applicable once and not applicable at another point of time in your life. So the roadmap will be something that is applicable throughout your life journey, and at different stages as your body gets into, the roadmap also shows you where, which directions, what changes, what etc. It's a guide. Now what is to be done? It's a guide for that. So from the early stages of life, he says that for every person, if you want resolution of the mental samsara, a Laukik method was Karma Yoga. But that is indirect. I know everybody knows this by now, on your fingertips, I'm sure. But just setting the context once again. This indirect method is clarified to us that it is indirect. Portions like this 5th chapter, 2nd verse, can easily be misconstrued to imply that Karma Yoga is a valid means by itself for moksha. And haven't we heard it enough in society, at least in the initial years when we were searching answers, that there are many paths to self-growth. Many yogas, 3 yogas in generalization, 4 yogas, 5 yogas, koi bhi ek yog le lo, and you go to the same destination. All yogas take you to the same destination. That means each one will try and take to the yoga that they think they're inclined for. But once you begin the pursuit, you realize, and those who have done it very seriously, followed it, they reach the dead end somewhere in their personal growth, and they realize that that dead end came because of this little nuance that looks little. The repercussions are huge. The nuances, having accepted the statement that all paths take you to moksha. It started on faith. आपको नहीं पता था, आपने सुना all paths lead to moksha. You thought yes, whatever's conducive. Some took bhakti yoga, some said gyan yoga, some said karam yoga for the active, bhakti yoga for the emotional, gyan yoga for the intellectual, and for the lazy, hatha yoga. And if you are very, very introverted, fifth yoga came, which is dhyana yoga, and now there are many yogas. You've lost, everything is a yoga now. So by the time you hear that all yogas take you to the higher, you are yourself taken abiding in one path, supposing. When you follow it, and the results are not instant, when you follow it for a period of time, and you suddenly realize that there is a dead end to it, your self-growth has a stagnation. Why is there a stagnation? Because every path does not lead to moksha. All yogas except Jnana Yoga leads you to Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. If portions like this in between 4th and 5th chapter, the teachers hadn't clarified, then this, I'll put it in a general way, you would have spent a whole life wondering what went amiss. क्या रह गया था? ये किया तो क्या रह गया था? The context I'm talking about is one who is seeking their fulfillment in the real sense. संसार निवृत्ति, जिसको संसार की निवृत्ति चाहिए, उसके लिए. So what was the path that was laid out? That once you do the karmas in a spirit of yoga, and I know ये भी बहुत सुन लिया है सबने अभी तक, but even now I realize that every time someone says I applied it, and there is something that comes back to you and says yes, it's working. Because Karam Yoga is not something which is a Vishaya of just knowledge. The more it gets into functioning, the more you realize that the transformation of the mind happens. But that transformation of the mind is only conducive for Jnana Yoga. So he said here, these are technical terms that he is putting it. That once you are growing up, knowledge is given to you. He says there were two paths always for your self-evolution. While the direct path is Gyan, which has Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, this needs qualification, for which the initial stages being Karma Yoga, he said all people have the choice only with reference to the life that you would want to spend. How would you like to spend your life? I'm going to generalize this today a little, coming out of the words, giving it the meaning in life. How do you want to spend your life? Ask this question to one who's in their teens. Means Bala Avastha has gone into formation of thoughts, ideas, individuality. When you come to teens is when you are getting prepared for adult life. And what direction would you want to give your life? So this question is pertaining to what is the choice that you hold at that time for your self-growth. आप अपने जीवन में उसकी क्या गति देना चाहेंगे? आई नो दिस क्वेश्चन लुक्स वेरी सिली फॉर मोस्ट ऑफ अस बिकॉज ये थोड़ी सोचा जाता है, मतलब कॉन्टेक्स्ट इज natural है, once you finish education, work and family and all that. But when you look at this self evolution, there are two paths Veda says. This is one path that we just said. Enter a family life. Have a family life. But family life in the drishti of Veda was only also preparatory ground. This somehow is a missed portion of education to us now. Marriage did not mean that marriage is going to fulfill you. Just as toys don't mean that the toy world will fulfill the child. In the same way, when you marry, is there a clarity that marriage will itself fulfill or not? Most of us don't think of this. To us, marriage means marriage. मतलब शादी है, अब शादी मतलब इसको कौन सोचता है? शादी शादी है, and then you'll get your freedom, you'll get your expression, you'll have somebody in your life जिसके साथ rosy picture, that rosiness surrounded by wonderful companion for life. Great, correct. But this companion for life, have you been able, the Shastra says that this stage of your life, if it is lived with an idea that it is a preparatory stage, that means what? The uncertainty that in Grahastha Ashram anything happens anytime. In the world anything happens anytime. Grahastha Ashram also is a part of the world. Anything happens anytime applies to that also. Anything happens anytime to anyone. Add that further. So all that uncertainty, the mind is only kept in the mode of taking every day as a stage of preparation. This preparation, which is the stage of karma, once it is there, this person before entering this Grahastha Ashram had another choice. And the choice was, do not enter this, but still have to prepare. So karma meant Grahasthashram. Understand this. Vaidika karma actually is the word for karma. अब तो बहुत सब गिर गया है, तो कंफ्यूजन सोसाइटी में बहुत ज्यादा है. बट कर्मा का मतलब ही था गृहस्थाश्रम meant karma, karma meant गृहस्थाश्रम. I know nobody is relating to this, or at least not relating it in the sense that it's clarity, because where is it applicable today? So it just looks like out of context. But for you to appreciate that karma has turned into Karam Yoga in Gita. So what was karma in Karma Kand is Karam Yoga in Gita. It doesn't mean that karma has been dropped. It means karma, if it has dropped in action, it has to be seen through in mind as Karam Yoga. I hope this is clear. हमको लगता है जब, when I'm repeating myself now, karma meant Vedic karma. And what were Vedic karmas? All the niyamas, all the rituals, Surya worship, your Kul Devta worship. There were many according to, it's fallen, so we don't have much knowledge about it. But Rose, once you were married, a big chunk of your day went into those karmas. You must have seen your grandparents do it, or parents do it. Most of the families did it up to the point of grandparents or just before that. Before independence, for sure. Karma meant your family duties, those that came in the lineage for your family to also continue doing. Then came the freedom. And for us, now a free lifestyle meant we still have grahastha ashram, but without the karma. So what will now grahastha ashram become? Not an ashram. So it's now become a home where everybody has a free space and time, etc., etc., but minus the sense of karma. It still has the sense of obligation as, as a child, what is your obligation to your parent? What is your duty to your parent? Or as a parent, what are your duties to your children? वो duty word अभी भी है. Those duties are still protection, sure enough. But karma meant that aspect in your grahastha ashram where a small part or a big part, whatever, according to each one, 1/4 of the day was going in Ishwar Arpanam, karma, proper. And the rest of the little part of the day was going in earning for the family. And in between was the stage where you would have Shravanam. संतों को बुलाया जाता था, साधुओं को बुलाया जाता था, आप जाते थे, जगराते होते थे, everything. It was a part of the cultural way in which a grahastha ashram had exposure to the knowledge. So what was to happen is that by the time you lived 20 years, the mind was supposed to have enjoyed the little life of companionship, at the same time developed the qualities that were necessary for ज्ञान. गृहस्थ आश्रम का ये तात्पर्य था. Some people did not want to enter this, but preparation was still needed. So what they took was a lifestyle change, a different set of duties which were not dependent on Vaidika karma, but Karam Yoga. I hope I'm making this clear. Anybody who's not so far? We're trying to pick up the thread. Are you able to understand? You cannot. There are 2-3 that I can still not see as a nodding. Then I can infer that you're not either listening or you're not understanding. You're listening, I'm sure. That means you're not.
That means you're not understanding.
Yes, teacher.
Sorry?
Yes, understanding.
Understanding? No, Dipali has a question.
Yeah, could you please repeat this portion?
Which portion?
Just this last part of this
Yeah.
grahastha and this bit.
So, when this person did not enter grahastha ashram and he chose to avoid the karmas that were enjoined with the grahastha ashram. Okay, I'm retracing the steps a little back because I want the chronology set properly. बाला अवस्था खत्म होते होते टीनेज तक आते आते धीरे धीरे एजुकेशन के साथ आपके पास 2 चॉइस खुलती है फॉर योर सेल्फ एवोल्यूशन इन अ लाइफ टाइम. सेल्फ एवोल्यूशन के लिए नेसेसरी इज कर्मा उपासनास वर एड्स फॉर maturity of the mind. Please understand, we all presume our mind is also evolving with the growth of our body. It is not so from Vaidika Drishti. Don't bring scientific figure over here. Don't bring scientific point over here. Vaidika view is very clear that your subtle body needs its own growth. Human body doesn't need your intervention to grow. By default, the growth of the body is without your will. So अगर आप छोटे हैं, अगर आपको disease से protected रखा है, तो chances are that all of us are going through the same षड्विकार, शरीर का षड्विकार. इसमें आपका क्या हाथ है? कुछ है? Do you have any hand in it? No. Because the body is by default changing. It's growing is the way we say. But is the mind also growing along with the body? Is the child growing along with the body in the mind also? That is what Veda says, that while your body ko to nature has taken care of, it is only in the human body that you will have to take care of the growth of your mind. And Veda gives you the formula for it. The formula is, you have to have discipline set for your mind. You have to make it a disciplined mind. Discipline is again a bad word in English. A better word is prepare the mind. Grow the mind. For self-growth, what is the tools you have? You only have karma and you have upasana. Yeah. Recently, I was just thinking, what is the importance so much of karma? Itna emphasis hota tha Vedas mein for karma. And when you go on reflecting on it, because we have all dropped it, so it's very difficult for us to connect to what must be the importance. And certainly you cannot connect to the change it may have been brought up, because most of the people that you saw abiding in it, you didn't see them growing. So it just looked like a presumption. So it was easy to drop the karma. But look very carefully. Your mind has only thoughts. And thoughts always are pertaining to some objects. Without its associated objects, you can't have thoughts. All objects have names and forms. अब supposing आपको कुछ भी, कोई भी कहीं पे भी, the minute your mind is active, interactive, you will realize that this interactiveness of the mind means that it is now associated with some names and forms. There's nothing in your mind without names and forms. दुनिया के नाम और रूप, शब्दों के, लोगों के, व्यवहार के, everything in your mind is nothing but names and forms. Is this much clear? This name and form जो सारा टाइम माइंड में भरा रहता है, दुनिया का नेम एंड फॉर्म, दुनिया के लोग, दुनिया की चीजें, दुनिया में क्या करना है, दुनिया से क्या चाहिए, अब आज क्या करूं, आज कहाँ जाऊं, आज क्या बनाना है, आज क्या कहाँ जाना है, आज क्या हो रहा है, उसके all of this is entirely to do with two words, name and form, pertaining to the world. Everything that you would do here afterwards is still relating and strengthening the same name and form. क्योंकि वहां पे already परिपूर्ण नहीं है. World is not complete without you. So anything that you do with this name and form also leaves you behind not fulfilled. Yeah?
Deepti, last one again, please. Leaves you unfulfilled, lost.
Because everything that you are entertaining in your mind is, उसका object क्या है जो आप सोच रहे हो? उसका object है दुनिया की चीजें, दुनिया जो अपने आप में limited है, अपने आप में ही unfulfilled है, incomplete है. तो आपके मन का विषय क्या है? What is your mind dwelling on? It's dwelling on all these things, which are by themselves, by their own nature, firstly not independent. Higher advanced Vedanta may you see it more clearly, but in this stage of it, it themselves is not complete. वो खुद ही अपना incomplete expression है. They have no existence without you is the highest stage of Vedanta. Because this is so incomplete by itself, your mind is all the time dwelling with that incompleteness. Now, what has Vedas done by introducing karma? The entire realm of karma is to do with a whole new set of name and form. If I say today morning I spent, okay, let's say Veda says every day morning get up and do your Nitya Karma, and Nitya Karma meant do whatever puja or whatever you do. Now for that half an hour or 1 hour or whatever, आपका मन में विषय में अगर आप ध्यान लगा के कर रहे हैं तो आपके मन के विषय में नाम और रूप किससे रिप्लेस्ड हो गया? So supposing you say, I say the word at the moment Ram. What comes to your mind, Ram? है ना? What comes to your mind?
Ishvara.
Form of, there's a form?
Name and form.
Name and form of Ram as Ishvara. I say Krishna. कुछ बदल गया ना? Now supposing you were engaging some karma in that name. Physical karma means karma. जो कर्म कांड ने गृहस्थों को कहा था कर्मा करो. अब आप वो सब कर रहे हो तो वो आपके मन में क्या हो रहा है? वो वृत्तियों को क्या हो रहा है? There is a change of vritti, no? नाम रूप से related, there is a change of vritti for that time. Yes? No? It's changing.
Yes, Didi.
That it changes there is what Shastra is showing. जब तक आपके मन का विषय नाम रूप लौकिक चीजों से भरा रहेगा, यही संसार है. विषय आपका मन किस में उलझ रहा है? किन विषय पे विचार कर रहा है? जिस विषय पे विचार कर रहा है, अगर वो विषय दुनिया से रिलेटेड है, कप एंड ग्लास एंड वाटर एंड फायर एंड कोरोना एंड etc. What is your mind engaged with? Those topics. Now looks to be so real. मन विषय कर रहा है ना, विचार कर रहा है उन पे ना. आप उसको एक वो है अपना अपना relative reality, leave it there. But if in a part of your day you introduce say half an hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, say or whatever, puja, nitya, japa, whatever. अब आपके मन में जैसे आप कहो कुछ भी जपा है ना, जप कर रहे हो, whichever. Now what is your mind now engaged in? What happened to the fire and pollution and job insecurity and traveling and corona, lockdown, open, suicide or not, and Trump or not, and बहुत topics बहुत है involve होने के विषय के, too many topics there. Now for those few minutes, what happened to the mind? नाम रूप ही बदल गया पूरा, विषय ही पूरा बदल गया. You have to appreciate this before we move forward. Your mind का विषय ही बदल गया पूरा. That was the significance of karma. Now without, why were these idols there in the fire? Why are they there? Now you see that picture behind, and if you can see it clearly, it's a Ganesha. Ganesha will always give you stories of, it cannot give you anything. Even if you call a person Ganesha, hey Ganesha, idhar aa, get me some water. But the mind, in deep down, you know who Ganesha is. You cannot do anything else with it. आप कोई व्यवहार कर सकते हो इस गणेश के साथ? Can you do anything with it? You can only have noble thoughts. Noble is English word. शुद्ध विचार ही हो सकता है. कभी अशुद्ध विचार निकल सकता है. Even in Ashraddha, even when you are giving all kinds of names, there are a lot of stories like that. You hear कि skeptical bhaktas को भगवान दर्शन जल्दी देता है. Stories like that. Many stories that float around. Those who are very skeptical, questioning, you are not there. And there's a movie that came, oh my God, where he was asking constantly, and then Krishna comes. A new version has, of course, him on a motorcycle, but the older version, Sanjeev Kumar version, was a better version. It's fantastic dialogue with Krishna. Now, उसको उसने बहुत कुछ सुनाया, but सुनाया किसको? However much you may call it, is the dvesh the same as the dvesh for another name and form? Can't be, no? See the importance of karma, right karma. What was grahast? Because human mind holds in it a whole lot of latent sanskars of animal instincts. It can only be pervaded by all kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya in all shades. In all shades, what you can't recognize also. Malab, it's not that moha ya mada ya matsarya is only matsarya. There are shades of matsarya, there are shades of moha, so each one is only living that because the topic which your mind deals with is all of that. So once you deal with all this nama rupa, Ved said, you replace them for a short time because the force from inside is so much that you can't take it full time. You cannot have a full-time dedicated life for it. अंदर से आप restless हो जाओगे, आपको ये करना होगा, आपको वो बनना होगा. So for a little time in a day, make it a part of your routine to definitely include a nama rupa vishay which is different from all other nama rupa vishay. This was the purpose of karma kand in a human's life, so that the growth of the mind functions now. What is the growth of the mind? That the raga dvesh which have been collected in the past from janma janmantar, और भी तो उपाधि से आ रहे हैं ना हम. And the Vedas drishti, this is not your first birth. बहुत उपाधि से बदल बदल के आए हैं, तो काफी इकट्ठा करके लाए हैं. क्या इकट्ठा करके? Will all be pertaining to your survival. Because in every other form, you're not working for liberation. You will only work for survival. Survival of the fittest, Darwin's theory. So you will need that jealousy, you will need that fear, you will need, all those are a part of your survival. Even in human form, it is a part of your survival. Many times these they are instincts that help survive the body. But they are not something that grow the mind. They don't help in the growth of the mind. They may help you in surviving sometimes. Suddenly you get a fear of seeing something, okay, let me hold on. That means you are protecting your body. That fear has helped to protect the body. But if the fear is left loose, this fear has not been curtailed in a human form, then this has taken the expression, taken over. You see it from Katha Upanishad, you see it from different angles. it has taken over the person, and now what has bound the person completely are these instinctive responses which are not deliberate. They are just there. These instinctive responses in the realm of growth for yourself would mean freeing yourself from them. Unke force se, when you see nowadays so many floods everywhere, and you really wonder the car that was taking you from one place to another place is helpless in the force of water. बह रही है, like a floating object, like a piece of wood. That behna is how Jiva takes his life. You see the metaphor? पूरा का पूरा force of mind's impulses, संसार बहा ले जाता है जीवन को. इस जीवन का जो बहना हो जाता है, वेद की दृष्टि में only human can control it. Human birth में you can give growth to yourself, find freedom from this vague is what we call it. Shastra calls it vague that gets collected. Vague हो जाता है ना एक. If anybody understands what a vague is, before you know you are, some people always say, but my partner is such an angry person, or but my partner is such a this, or my child is such a. मतलब before they know वो निकल जाता है सब कुछ. It's like all of us. This vague, through the discipline that have been introduced in life, reduce the force first. धीरे धीरे जब आपके मन में विषय अलग है, I've always said there are teachers that you have met in your life who would keep some japa with them. And the minute, even with talking to students and the involvement goes into other topics, they would just say that japa. So if it's Om Namah Shivaya, bas Om Namah Shivaya. एक बार बोलने का मतलब, of course, जो serious student थे उनको समझ में आ गया कि भैया, this Om Namah Shivaya means reconnect. However, internet does reroute the mind. Internet में rerouting होता है ना, suddenly it gets lost and then circle घूमता है and then it gets connected back. It's some japa will work like that. It reroute yourself. Suddenly, array, this has gone off, reroute. Now, when you see the whole aspect of karma, what has it really done? It is not overnight because the force is so strong, plus the need for your present life, its activities, maintaining the relations, etc. is still continuing. So, dheere dheere, that alternative is reducing the force. It's not eliminating it. Some freedom is maintained, is got, is achieved. This choice that a person had, whether I should enter the grahasthashram, but with a commitment for karma, means daily my life has to be centered around Ishvara. Daily. Grahastha life meant daily my life has to be centered around Ishvara, and everything else centers around it. So my family, my children, my extended families, my grandchildren, everything is around that. No doubt about it. But central focus becomes Ishvara. Second choice was sannyas, which means now this karma realm is reduced because I am not ready to take on responsibilities of another person. In that, you switch over as Karam Yoga. This sannyasa, which is a different lifestyle, which we shastrically use the term, the teachers in between use the term as Vividisha Sannyas. So the choice a human being has is between taking on Karam Yoga in Grahasthashram now, or take on the Vividisha Sannyasa, where Shravanam Mananam is important, primary, but the preparation continues in the form of other kind of disciplines of life. Second verse said, both sannyas and karam yoga take you to the highest, moksha. If both take you to the highest, then there was a choice either or between these two. But fourth chapter gave almost all the disciplines from Mananam to Nididhyasan stage for a Jnani. Jnani ki kya sadhana hai? So when sadhana means practices, life that you must live if you want to establish in your knowledge. कैसा जीवन आप जियोगे कि आपका ज्ञान निष्ठ हो? उसके लिए was the practices in the fourth. Those practices said no karma. Nididhyasan meant only mananam, self-correction of how you see yourself as limited, replacing it with how you are Brahman. Constant replacement. Karma mein there is constant affirmation. You are a doer. Once this stage choice is there, Shankara says here now, the question that Arjuna asked is, though for us all it is clear that fourth chapter said it is for a Jnani, मगर अर्जुन सुनने वाला सुन रहा है कि ये दोनों है, तो उसको जानना ही होगा कि मैं क्या करूं. What should I do? Is this clear? He has to know what should I do. So the question is clear. But in between, Purva Paksha says, he says, why should there be a confusion at all? Either you're a Jnani or an Ajnani. A Jnani takes Karma Yoga, Jnani takes Jnana Yoga for Nididhyasana. This portion is building the bridge between the two thoughts. How he answers here is, first he clarifies what are the options that are there in the verse. He clarifies that we did last time. He clarifies why Arjun had to get confused because there was no clarity on the topic word sannyas. किसके लिए है? ये नहीं कहा था. So सुनने वाला सोच सकता है कि मेरे को कहा जा रहा है. Like I said in class, many times it happens, you're generalizing, but you feel कि हमको कहा जा रहा है. Because the topic relates to you. The entire Vedanta relates to every one of us. So even if something is said in a general way, it starts to feel as if it's applicable because it is a knowledge about you. So at a different stage of saying, you pick it up at a different stage. Is this sentence clear? कोई sentence ऐसा है जो higher aspect of your ज्ञान की दृष्टि से कहा गया है, but at this context कर्म की दृष्टि में अब fit हो रहा है, so you get confused. ये है कि ये है. Should I take to self study or should I do say puja japa? What should I do? This doubt was valid because Arjuna is an Ajnani. Being a Jnani, he says, he can very well mistake the context कि उसको कहा जा रहा है कि sannyas is very good, direct means, and karma yoga is also good. You do karma, but sannyas say you get the nishreyas. And then Shankara continues to say that answer that Bhagavan gives is which of these two is relevant for you, and you means Ajnani And this because through our teachers we have, means this parampara has given it so clearly, but in the Bhashyam, Shankara uses terms that are not anymore available in words, like Atmavit, knower of Atma, and Anatmavit means knower of Anatma, representing Agyani and Gyani. This being so, I think we have to start from 0.3. Is that true? I've forgotten what is the last verse we did, last portion.
Yes, if this is 0.3, we have to start.
Okay. So up to now, I hope the context is clear. If you have any question, you can now ask before we move on. Okay. Who wants to follow? We will probably redo this a little more tomorrow. I'll just start this thought flow. Anybody wants to chant after me? Vani. Okay. Let me just share this one. You can see? Yeah?
No.
You can't see?
No, we can't. Very screen देख दीजिए. Black screen.
Oh.
It's not coming.
It's not coming.
Not coming.
Okay.
It's there, Diti works.
Yeah, it's visible.
Wait. Okay. Prativachana वाक्यार्थनिरूपणेन अपि
वाक्यार्थनिरूपणेन अपि
प्रष्टुः अभिप्रायः
प्रष्टुः अभिप्रायः
एवम् इति गम्यते
एवम् एव इति गम्यते
कथं संन्यासकर्मयोगौ
संन्यासकर्मयोगौ निःश्रेयस्करौ
तयोस्तु कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते इति प्रतिवचनम्. So 0.2 had said it is valid for Arjuna to get confused, and now he says, Shankara gives the second reason why it is important to do this Bhashyam, Sambandha Bhashyam, and the second important reason for it is seeing the answer that is given in the second verse of 5th chapter. That is what is said in this line. Prativachana Vakya Artha Nirupanena. He says this entire analysis or the entire Nirupan, treading it clearly, explaining it clearly. Thus, the up to 41st verse, chapter 4, and 42nd verse being different, saying, you Arjuna do karma. This differentiation analysis needs to be done regarding prashtuhu, question, that Arjuna had abhiprayah. उसका क्या अभिप्राय था अर्जुन के प्रश्न का? Why was he confused? We need to understand that clearly. To reach a proper understanding, you take the second verse of the 5th chapter, and Shankara has only quoted that verse. Sannyasa karma yoga nishreyasa karau tayoho tu karma yogo vishishyate. Let's just chant the second verse because that will help us to understand the verse better. Shri Bhagavan Pani.
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Sannyasah karma yogascha
संन्यासकर्मयोगश्च
nishreyasakaravubhau
निःश्रेयस्करावुभौ
tayostu karma sannyasat
तयोस्तु कर्मसन्न्यासात्
karma yogo vishishyate.
कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते
Shri Bhagavan Sannyasah karma yogascha nishreyasakaravubhau.
भगवानुवाच संन्यासकर्मयोगश्च निःश्रेयसकरावुभौ
तयोस्तु कर्म संन्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते.
तयोस्तु कर्मसन्न्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते
श्रीभगवानुवाच संन्यासः कर्मयोगश्च निःश्रेयसकरावुभौ तयोस्तु कर्म संन्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते.
श्रीभगवानुवाच संन्यासकर्मयोगश्च निःश्रेयसकरावुभौ तयोस्तु कर्मसन्न्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते
Verse generally first, then later on we'll do it in details. Sannyasah karma yogaha cha. So the verse is saying cha is and, sannyasa and karma yoga. Nishreyasa kara. Kara is means sadhan for nishreyasa. Shreyas say something which is absolute shreyas, nishreyas, which is moksha. Ubhau, both. So that cha meant ubhau, dono. So the first line is saying both sannyas and karma are means for moksha. Tayoho tu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Tayoho, that ubhau, both. Tayoho, between the two. Indeed, tu, उन दोनों के बीच कर्म संन्यासात means कर्म संन्यास से कर्म योग विशेष है. कर्म संन्यास से कर्म योग is special, is superior, is vishesh, is specialized. Between karma sannyas and karma yoga is special. If you just take the verse by itself, isn't the contradiction already there between the two lines? In the first line it is said, both of them are means for moksha. In the second line he says, but indeed between the two, Karma Yoga is superior. This is what Shankara is basing his further examination of the answer. Because, as I just said in the introduction today, for the sake of everyone who wishes to know what is right for them, a very simple way to understand it is, in context of all of you probably who have already entered marriage and grahast and etc., this choice may not be a very tangible choice. So you may have some difficulty appreciating this because there's no question of karma sannyas here now. All that you can understand Gita is saying to you is karma yoga is what is applicable to you, which is what iti prativa. This explanation he's going to further in this paragraph as we move ahead. I think we'll take that up tomorrow. Just start from here, not build up the thought flow, so that we will hopefully then connect again, once again, in case one of you hasn't been able to connect. I think most of you have connected, but just in case. Tomorrow we will start from this portion. If there's any question now, once we get this, no question. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate